Welcome everyone to Zero Grade Talks. One of the things that has shaped me most, both as a ghostwriter and as someone deeply involved in AI research, is how many books I have read and absorbed over the years. Books don't just tell stories, they shape how we think and how we empathize and how we see possibilities. I've spent years reflecting on how reading transforms our cognitive abilities. And now I'm exploring how AI might reshape that journey. It's not about replacing the human spark, but about augmenting the way we discover and express ideas. This is how I see it. So that's why I'm so excited about today's conversation. My guest today is Michelle Ryan, a self-published Christian author from Charlotte, North Carolina. She's written 4 books, 3 fiction and 1 nonfiction, and brings over 20 years of writing experience. Michelle's story is one of persistence, faith, and courage over years of rejection and self-doubt, and bypassing gatekeepers in the industry. She finally published and has since become a coach, helping other writers publish boldly. What's more, she embraces AI not as a threat, as we all perceive it, but as a creativity booster, using it to explore her characters, streamline self-publishing, and event experiment with audiobooks. This episode is a relaxed and story-driven chat where we will explore Michelle's writing journey, her self-publishing experiences, and how AI is changing the creative process and revoluting the industry. We will also dive into the deeper questions of faith, authenticity, and empowerment in the age of AI. And my role here is to help you take away practical nuggets. Whether we are writers, readers, someone who's just curious about AI and creativity, and the big question of will AI replace ghostwriters forever, or a whole industry being taken out. So we will leave you with inspiration and tools that you can use right away. So let me kick off by asking, what kept you writing for 20 years, Michelle, before you've become published?
So I was actually writing for 15 years before I became published, because once I started writing, I just realized that it was part of who I was. It's really how I navigate through life. It was when I discovered that I could actually take my imagination and put it in writing and put it on a page. It really became part of me. So at that point, being published wasn't important. I did try early on to get published, though, because I felt like, okay, well, you're writing, you've got to get published. But see, 20 years ago, the industry was very different. You had to, in order to get published, to be taken seriously, you had to get an agent or you had to find a publisher. I tried that initially. It was my first book and was completely devastated. I think my very first manuscript, it took no time to write, and it wasn't very good. But I said, okay, I'm a writer. My book is going to be on Oprah's book club. This is
And
genius.
honestly, it resonates with many writers' journeys. Please
Yeah,
keep
this
going.
is
Apologies.
genius. And so tried, got rejected. And then after that, I says, well, maybe this is not for me. So I'll just write. And for a writer, that's fine. That really makes you happy. That satisfies you just doing that. Except for the fact that once you start writing and writing and writing, then you feel like, okay, well, what good is this if I'm the only one reading it? So that's really basically, and I tried to quit. I really did. But then I would quit and another book deal would pop up and then I'd start writing again.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a gift, it's a talent, it's a passion. You
Yeah,
cannot be a writer out of just thin air. Because
right.
writing requires patience, requires perseverance, requires imagination. And it takes a lot to be a writer. And being a writer doesn't necessarily mean you should be outspoken or really have this public presence. I mean, many writers have been introverts and, people who are just like bookworms, as we call them.
I would say that most writers are introverts. How writing is how we express ourselves because we are introverts. I agree with that.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Being an introvert is actually misconcepted in a way that they just withdrawn people who just don't like engage in the out there in the public and
Mhm.
society. No, they do, but introverts get their energy from within, not from
Absolutely.
the outside, you
You're
know?
so right.
And being an introvert is actually an asset for being a writer because
Absolutely.
you dwell and
Mm,
you go through this creative process and
mm,
it keeps pushing. It's an energy, you know?
absolutely. Yes.
That's how
Yes.
I see it. So tell us more, Michelle, about how did you bypass the difficulties in getting published? And by the way, are you happy about AI being here and maybe revoluting this process? I don't know.
You know, I am for myself because of the way I use it. But I'll go back to the whole publishing thing. I was writing during, just that real transition in the industry where, you had all the gatekeepers and then suddenly all the publishing houses started closing, right? And
Yeah,
there were fewer and fewer traditional publishers. And so then you had a period where there were these self-publishing companies that would,
yeah.
and my God, they'd hound you. And honestly, probably had I had the money because I didn't have the confidence in myself, I probably would have gone with one of them. But $6,000, $10,000 price tag.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right up front before you
Mhm.
actually release the book or do
And then
anything.
and they hound you
Yeah.
terribly. So then I started doing some research and found out, it really costs nothing to self-publish. So, just doing my research and finding out, well, initially probably the biggest expense is that editing, finding that editor and
Mm.
everything else. And at that time I was very budget conscious and in realizing, if I get a good editor and produce a great product, I can, because when you have books written, it is a weight to just have them and not get them out there. And I needed that publishing process to kind of, regardless of if anybody bought my book, that completion, I needed that. And so self-publishing produced that for me. It just really enabled me, gave me a process. You finish, you edit, you're happy with your product, you package it, get a great cover, package it, and then you get it out into the world.
Absolutely. And, you know, uh, nonetheless, because like you said, an upfront package like that and putting the book out, the revenue you actually get from this is nothing. It's not encouraging. And you feel like your effort is really being drained into something that is not profitable. But I can just say from experience, I think people, when they get published, and the biggest reward they get is putting the thought out. People
Yes.
reading their books
Yes.
and actually interacting with their books. And I think this is what writing is about. Like you said, it's expressing oneself and
Yes.
putting creative thoughts that come to you
Yes.
into a shape.
Yes.
So, when we dwell on AI in the shadow of this, so there is a bit of like an industry behind it. Not a bit, there is a big industry
A big
behind
industry, yes.
with a lot of like procurement and management and marketing and all of that. And that we can look at in the shadow of AI. And there is the other process of writing itself and how people use AI. Or will AI actually replace our writing process, our writing creative process? So I would love to hear a bit more from you about both sides of the equation.
So I do feel like the AI tools, a year ago, you tried to write with AI and it was terrible. Well,
Yeah.
it is getting so much better. And it is also getting so good at mimicking our unique writing style. But however, we still have to tell it. We are still the authors. And so if we are not doing our own creative work and, putting our thoughts out there, uh, then AI just kind of spits out this generic that, might be well written, but there's nothing there because, AI can't think for us.
Yeah.
But what is scary is the amount of just AI generated books that are
Mm.
just flooding the market because Amazon doesn't care.
Yeah.
Amazon asks you a question. Did you use AI? Yes. How much? 100% and at the end of the day, that's it. If you say it's 100%, that book is still going, that book is still going to be published. They're not going
Yeah.
to say no. So, and there are people who are, just generating massive amounts of, and so that's concerning. That's concerning because
It
you've
is.
got creative people who are responsible and who are not, going to let AI think for them and create for them. But we got to compete with a machine, with the
Yeah.
machine. And so, it's concerning, but at the end of the day, I find AI tools extremely helpful. I use them to help me generate ideas, but at the end of the day, I take, the help, and it does help me speed things up. And it definitely helps me produce a better um, output, as far as editing and as far as refining some of my language as word choices, but I'm not going to let it create for me.
Understood. So, Michelle, the way I see it is that AI cannot create, but it regenerates. And that's where
Okay.
the generative AI term
Mhm.
came in the industry. And our amazing Noel Russell, and this is how we met actually through
Yes,
the AI Leadership Institute,
absolutely.
an amazing community where you could learn more about AI and how it could help you and empower you
Mhm.
rather than replace you. And this is how I got to meet you, Michelle. Regeneration power of AI. How can we do that in our daily process? And how can we overcome our self-doubt, start working on our thoughts, show our work? So
Mhm.
how can we accelerate this process?
So I would say we have to take responsibility for our own creativity. And there is always that decision point that we make. Do we use AI for this or do we not? And if this is something that we need to, because it's easier. Of course, it's easier to generate than it is to sit and compose and think. But at the end of the day, what is this going to be used for? If it's going to be used for, if I'm just drafting an email or something that doesn't need to take much thought, well, you know what? I'm going to use AI. I'm not going to sit and wrestle with that. But like I said, if I want to display my creativity, I am not going to use AI to create something because then and take credit for it, because then I'm not expressing myself and I have nothing to feel good about because this didn't come from me. It came from AI. So, just really knowing what you want out of this. Do you want to express yourself or do you want AI your voice? And, just really caring about uh your reader or whoever, knowing who you are and knowing how you think. And then the opportunity to help people. AI is not going to do that.
Yeah.
We have our wisdom, our experiences, things that we have learned, our past. The AI doesn't know anything about that. It's a generative tool. We have to tell it. So just being committed to our values and what we want to put out into the world.
There is a big role here that comes from knowing our values, what we want to put out there, how much we care about our readers, and also how much do we care about ourselves. And from that angle, I want to ask you, how could AI tools be used for creativity again, rather than degrading our cognitive abilities? Because there was actually a study that showed that people who had used ChatGPT had degrading cognitive abilities. So, how could we bypass this, Michelle? And how does it build up from our daily interactions?
Yeah, I think that is a valid concern because um, when something is so easy to use, you can get lazy. You can definitely get lazy. I think that the way is that, which, with AI Leadership Institute and what Noel talks about, responsible AI, being responsible. And that starts with individually. Um,
So, is it also in the way we use the tools, or is it in the way we build AI? that we have to be responsible.
Well, you're the builder. See, I'm not the I am definitely of the user community, so I feel like it's because, builders are going to continue to build the best and the fastest and the this, but we as individuals have to decide at what point do we not want to let this machine do our work for us, and at what point do we want to value our cognitive abilities and value our own creativity and value who we are and the lessons that we've learned and what we can share with other people. Because look, nothing's slowing down in AI, right? Nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I tried what was that one nano banana or what I think that's what it's
Yeah,
called.
the nano banana.
Oh my God, that is amazing. It is
Yeah.
amazing. It replaces. I was gonna do a photo shoot. I'm like, I don't have to do a photo shoot anymore because this thing is so fast. So
Yeah, you know what, Michelle? Actually, it's so funny that you mentioned you are the builder because, working on my own startup and working on my product really that is an AI powered platform meant to help to empower both people who are seeking mental
Mhm,
wellness and mental health professionals. Taking it really serious and building responsibly from day one is actually intentional. It is something that you have to ground yourself into because it really amazed me that OpenAI had actually just implemented guardrails that people who get suicidal thoughts or if there are user queries that have suicidal thoughts, the model alerts authorities. And it boggles my mind that how could it be that it's out there for years and people could actually use it that way? And then we think about our reaction and how we could make it safe and how we can bypass this. And I think most of our reactions to the user behavior could come late in the process because we haven't engaged properly with the user, you know?
right.
And that is the element of responsibility that each builder and
Mhm,
each user should both have because nobody wants to put out tools in the market or put technology in the market that would harm someone. I don't
mhm,
think anyone actually intentionally have something like that.
mhm,
But you could put anything that is so built beautifully in front of anyone who was not meant to be an audience or a user of that tool and they will break it. They
yes.
would break it because there was no adoption curve, there was no learning experience, there was no, onboarding of how to use this tool and how it should be.
Right.
It's
They're
like
just throwing it out there so fast.
exactly, it's like the shiny phones we buy in the store with like 20,000 features in them, and you just end up using three or four of them. So actually knowing what you have there and how you could use it, like ChatGPT, how could we use it in our writing to brainstorm, to create well, great. Again, it helps you progress
Mhm,
your creative process
it
rather
does.
than replace it. So my question to you, actually, Michelle, will AI replace ghostwriters?
Well, a year ago, because I tried to ghostwrite, and I would have said no because still, I am still rewriting what I got from ChatGPT because I'm helping someone, but if it's not my story, it's hard. So I says, well, I'm going to get ChatGPT to do this. Well, the writing was so terrible. I haven't tried it lately, but I have a feeling it's probably a lot better. So, I don't know. I think it's possible. I mean, I really do. But at the same time, you're still going to need a writer, a real writer, because ChatGPT, as you know, is great for generating lots of words and putting lots of words on the page. But you're always going to you're going to have to still comb through it and make sure the quality is there, make sure the intent is there. So I would say no. I would say no, never replace. However, it's definitely going to make the process a lot faster. For me, it did not make it a lot faster because, like I said, I end up rewriting every word.
Exactly. That's the
Yeah, it
thing.
didn't.
It actually holds you back. That's the thing. And that's what I have witnessed.
Mhm.
through experience, it could actually hold you back because it just, putting your thoughts on paper or actually writing, going through the
Mhm.
process manually, it gives you so many angles. But actually, well, the good thing that we have now with ChatGPT and AI is that you don't have to start from a blank page anymore.
Yes,
But sometimes it's actually good to start from a blank page and
it
then
is.
fill it up, you know? And when you fill it up, you need to curate, you need to refine, you need to repurpose in
Mm.
order to get the output, that you're looking for. That's how I see it from experience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I said, it was not a good experiment for me. It put some words out there, but I think every time I read it, I just dramatically change something and realize so much is left out. And so I would say no replacement, but back to that individual responsibility, knowing where to use it and knowing where not to. And and putting that thought into it.
Yeah, so what is the biggest misconception about self-publishing with AI?
I would say that the biggest misconception is probably that writers who use AI um, let the let the tool write for them and think for them and produce for them, and and uh, and don't realize that there is no one way to do it, and that
Mhm.
there are very different ways that one can use AI. You can use it for idea generation. You can definitely use it for your cover. You use it for your synopsis. Use it for your. It's very good for really generic synopsis. Your book blurbs, your book marketing materials. That is forms of AI. But then it's forms of AI in publishing. But then the actual meat of the project, you
Yeah,
know,
it's not
AI
focused.
is not going to do that for us or
Yeah.
shouldn't. Now, like I said, there are a lot of books being produced now that are being produced with AI, but it doesn't just because I use AI doesn't mean that AI did the writing for me.
Yeah, absolutely understood. Thinking about it, there's a lot of logistics about around publishing and using the AI to help you with those logistics and speed up the process or
Mhm,
streamline the process.
mhm.
It's actually a very good scenario and a very good use case. However, the actual content that you put in the book should
Yes.
be, I mean, it's the authenticity and it's the thought that you've put into it. I just have one metaphor that just came to mind. It's us actually shopping in the market. You get the really heavily processed food that your body doesn't absorb or
Yes.
causes other effects and long-term diseases and a lot of things. And you get the raw, natural
Yes.
food that is really from creativity because it's
Mhm,
creation, It's
mhm,
all products that are created. We don't
mhm,
actually do
mhm.
anything. We
Right.
just support them to be created. And that's the AI that should go around it. And
Mhm.
the same
Right.
for our minds.
Right.
The substance that our minds absorb,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and interacts with. It
Yes.
does affect a lot of things in us. A lot.
Yes.
Our identity, our values, our cognitive abilities. So we really need to be very careful with that,
Right.
and
Right.
use it for our own good. I mean, it works both way for the writer and for the reader.
It does. It does. Just aside, my most recent novel, I'm always trying to, usually working on three novels at once. One almost done, one, the first draft is completed and I'm revising it. And I always like to have a brand new, just to keep the creativity going, just something brand new. However, finding that idea for that first, before AI was just, I would start writing, get an idea on my head, start
Yeah.
writing, and see if it goes anywhere. And I mean, that would take anywhere from 3 to 6 months before and of like 5 different partially started projects. And then before I picked, okay, this is the one that I'm going to keep writing. And then with AI, I just, you say, give me some book ideas. Give me some story ideas, give me some plots, and it gives you 10. And then, you pick through what you like and you say, okay, well, give me an outline for this one, give me an outline, 3 to 6 months but
Well, so yeah,
right. And then I get this outline, and then this outline is mine. And I
yeah.
change it and I write from there. So for me, that's a win. That's 6 months off of the
So, I mean, those who worry that AI takes away authenticity in
Mhm,
storytelling,
mhm.
how do you see this as a conception? And is it real that it would take away authenticity in storytelling?
It can't, if you take, like I said, I asked for 10 story ideas and it gave me 10 story ideas and 10 outlines. Well, the story ideas they were very basic. They were very cliche,
Mm.
and boring and this would not be something that I would want to write. But it offered, okay, do you want to start with chapter 1? Do you want to start with I'm like, no, I'll write my own chapters. Thank you. And like I said, I take the outline and I even change the outline as I'm going along.
Yeah,
The outline is following me. I'm not following it.
exactly. I love this. So, I mean, how do you see AI changing publishing in the next 5 years?
Oh my gosh, it has streamlined everything. You can, it yeah, gosh, the tools, the abilities, things you can put things out there so fast. And also, you don't have to rely on the Amazons and the Barnes and Nobles anymore, because
Yeah.
with AI, there are other print vendors, there are other vendors where you can send your book and have print on demand. You don't even have to you can sell your books from your own website. And so
Yeah.
it really, I think it really opens the market. Now, at this point, most people still put their books on Amazon. It's more of a credibility type of thing, because I don't, unless you can be an Amazon bestseller definitely and make a lot of money, but a lot of times just having your book on you just want to have your book on Amazon, but you actually make your money selling your book in person or selling it from your own website. So I think that's just going to continue, and it's going to allow people to be able to publish and market and distribute their books in a lot of different ways, bypassing Amazon and Barnes and Noble and all of them.
That's amazing, Michelle. So, speaking about this and your services, as in
Mhm,
terms of coaching and your upcoming tutorials, natural points, and your focus on sharing stories and lessons.
mhm.
So, I want to know more, how did this shape your services, and a bit of like really give us stories about how many people you've helped and the amazing stories, because I know a lot about it. I want to share this with the listeners.
Yeah. Being that one thing that when you are a self-published author and you're able to hold your book, that interests people. And people, always come up to me, I've always wanted to write a book. I've been thinking about, or my favorite is, I've got a book at home and I've had it for a while, because that was me. And I don't know what to do with it. So I just love talking to authors, especially the ones that have the passion to create. And, maybe they're journaling, maybe and don't really, and know that there's some good and there's some value in it, but don't know how to move into the next step. So, they contact me, we talk, we ask questions. And a lot of times, all I have to do is just kind of steer them in there, because of AI tools. Um,
Um,
all I have to do is steer you in the right direction. Sometimes it'll take a phone call and I say, did you try to use Chat GPT for that? Or because I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm not going to go into Chat GPT and then give you something. No, I'm
yeah.
directing you to use the tools yourself. So that's a lot of what I do.
That's
A lot of times,
amazing.
yeah, a lot of times where I get involved is the clients that say, "Okay, thank you for the information, but I really don't have the time to do this. Will you do it for me?" "Fine, sure, sure." And honestly, it's a lot of formatting. It's probably the pretty, the formatting, getting things ready to upload into Amazon Katie, getting them, helping them with their book number, just that routine type of stuff, proofreading. I'm not personally, I edit my own work, but I don't offer editing services. I just offer, let's get your book ready. Let's get it published, get it out on Amazon. And then we can talk about any other platforms that you're interested in. But that, because right now I only have my books on Amazon and on Apple Books, but
Amazing.
and Ingram Spark. Ingram Spark. Now, my understanding is, which when I got on Ingram Spark, I didn't know this, but my understanding is you put your book on Ingram Spark, it goes to Barnes and Noble and everywhere.
Yeah, understood.
Mhm.
Actually, you've really been coaching me as well. And I do have two books that are lying there that I want to get out.
Yes, and we are working on it, Marion. We
Yeah.
are, meaning you are.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I am. And I really value your advice. And there is a lot of work around it. I mean, if we say that there are logistics that could be done by AI, but there is a lot of coaching that has to go into it for people to actually write something, put it out. And there are many services and communities around this. So there is one community that I am part of. It's called the Badastery Academy, and it's founded by Tim Denning, who's an amazing writer, and he has really built this empire over 10 years.
Mhm.
So Tim Denning has his own way into putting something that is so thought-provoking and so authentic, and
Uh-huh.
it's just right down to the point, you know? And I have admired that, and I became part of this academy because I want to grow into the habit of writing and putting things out. And this is one thing that I actually said to Noelle as well in one of our workshops. And I said, I have a lot to say and put out. And I think a lot of people do. It's really very rare that I don't have anything to say or
Right.
put out, you know?
Mhm.
But the logistics around it, the coaching, the habit that helps you put this out, all of
Mhm.
this needs work. And those are the services that are growing. And you, ma'am, are really one of the pioneers in that. And I do appreciate our interactions over the books that I have written. One question from me to you is, how does your faith influence your writing? And how does faith in general influence our writing? Because this is something that I have come across, and some people see it as controversial. And some people, for example, if your faith is really about God, it's like, how could we speak about God without mentioning God and make it absorbable for people? And it was really thought provoking for me. It's like, why would you like to speak about God without mentioning God? Is it because it's a very tough topic to introduce, or is it because the political surrounding of it that you don't want to be an intruder or someone who's really trying to influence? Lots go into it, and this
Right.
is a big dilemma that people go into when they
Right.
or face when they start writing.
Mhm.
So I would love to learn a bit more from you about it.
Well, that's not really a controversy for me because um I have always, my faith is my muse. So even though I write fiction,
I love it.
it is Christian fiction. So
Love it. Yeah.
and like my first book, probably you don't hear God mentioned until probably the middle of it, but it's because it's a dramatic, but my books are always about God. And
Yeah.
and my nonfiction are all about my journey with God. So that's really, I would say this is my recommendation. If God is inspiring you, if God, which God is the source of all things good and all things creative, He is the creator and He's the source of all creativity.
True. Yeah.
You don't have to wrestle. Just put it out there. Just put it out there and move on. And move on. And
100%. Yeah.
whoever doesn't like it just doesn't like it. But and also, this is my approach. But creativity is creativity. You're free. This is how I approach it, but you're a creative. I'm not discounting your creativity if you don't choose to have the same belief system that I do. But, just be creative. I encourage you to be creative no matter what your belief system is, because it's not definitely not exclusive, but I choose to be upfront with what I believe and the source of my creativity.
I really love the kind of like the motto of like my faith is my muse, you know? And I mean, like when people write, part of their identity is shared, part of their thoughts is shared, part of their journey is shared, and their experience. And I mean, it depends on the person and how they put themselves out there and the message they're conveying, what they're writing about. Lots of things go into it. But I think, like, I'm really encouraged by what you said. Don't be shy to speak about it because, it's something that is in our core, in our existence, in our being, and trying to avoid it and trying to, bypass it and bridge it. It doesn't do anyone good. It really oppresses your creativity. Unleash it. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Use your creativity. Right. But
Yes.
always be aiming for good, for the good of the readers, for the good of yourself.
Yes.
What you build is what you sit with.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what you said was very good. And I would add, you put it out there, and then it's not a big deal. This is my identity. This is how I want you to see me. But at the same time, I'm a creative. I'm a professional. You're an engineer. You're a techie.
Yeah.
I'm not. But definitely that's part of who you are. So, you have different facets. So show it,
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely. And like I'm a techie really, and I've tried so many times to move away from that, but it just gets me. It's just like it's engraved in me and I love it. And I love technology and I love every element of it, how it's built, how it's grown, the industrial revolutions. And I also care about the greater good, the environment. Part of it is actually putting an environmental pledge on this podcast.
Okay, cool. Okay.
And, I mean, there's so much that goes into it, but the way the way we choose to accept, embrace, work with what we have, what we've been given, and utilize that does have an angle and it does have an effect on our lives and everyone around.
Yes.
Challenges do arise in every episode of our lives.
Yes.
But sometimes we do have the right to be overwhelmed. But if we own it that we're overwhelmed, we can,
It's
move past it and go ahead with our creativity and our journey. And this is also really engraved in the creativity process.
Yes.
Owning where you are, saying what you want to do and what you have and working with it is the key to actually going ahead with your journey. So I
Absolutely.
want to ask you for one step a hesitant writer can take this week to try to do it with confidence and to try AI.
One step, jot some ideas down of things that they're interested in and open up ChatGPT and feed those ideas into ChatGPT and say, I'm interested in X, Y, and Z. Give me some topics that I can explore about this. That way you're getting your topics, but you're not having ChatGPT to do the work for you. You're still going to do the exploration.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Michelle. We do
Well,
appreciate your time today with us on Zero Grade Talks, and we love your contribution, and we love that we had you on the podcast.
thank you for inviting me, Marian. I really appreciate you.
Yes,
It's,
ma'am. Go ahead.
you are awesome. You are awesome, and we're going to get your book written. We are.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it's
Yeah.
actually your 2 books are actually already written. We're going to get them published.
Yes, we will. Fingers crossed we will do that in God's grace. Everyone who's listening, go ahead, try to write with AI. Do not let AI replace you. Use it for your good and for the good of the community. Michelle's services are amazing, and she is a Christian coach who helps people get things out there and bypass a lot of hurdles and stuff that could hold you back. So I would encourage you to reach out and get in touch with Michelle and see how you could work out common grounds for collaboration. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and cheerio until next episode. Thank you. Bye.